Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I'm back. I was gone for a while, been sick for a bit, couldn't do a lot of videos, and really didn't want to put the effort into it if it was going to sound good and my voice was shot. In fact, I have a little bit of tea here, Superman, here to help me out in this case I need it for this review. Hopefully I won't need it, but if I do, I will. And the review I'm going to do for today, or this week, is for, of course, the film a lot of folks have been waiting to see, Wonder Woman. I saw it yesterday, I enjoyed it, even decorated my desk area here with some of the pops. If you're a pop fan, I do enjoy them whenever I get good ones. Classic Wonder Woman. I've got the Wonder Woman and the Dr. Moreau, or Dr. Poison, from the film. This came from the Legion of Collectors exclusives from DC. I did a video on that earlier. Was not too pleased with the box. I thought it could have been better, but you know what? The box I didn't think was that great in my opinion, but the movie, in my opinion, was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I want to say that in this video I'm going to go some brief overview of the film initially, and then I'm going to get into some spoilers, but not all. I do want you to go out there and see the film. There's one particular part of the spoiler I will not reveal in the film. You'll have to see this for yourself. If you're the type of folks that want to see these videos to say to yourself, do I really want to go see the movie? I'm not sure. Then hopefully this will help you out. To start off, I didn't watch too many trailers leading up to the film because I wanted to be surprised. There was a lot of hype going on. There was a lot of expectation. And I felt with a lot of these films that have come out recently, especially in DC, their trailers gave away too much. Batman vs. Superman being a perfect example. I did not need to see Doomsday in the second release trailer. You could have waited in the film to be the big surprise. And Warner Bros. Didn't do that. And also I felt that Wonder Woman had this user expectation that it had to surpass what the Man of Steel, what Batman vs. Superman, and what Suicide Squad portrayed. Now, mind you, I liked Man of Steel. I thought it was a good film. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was a good film. But B versus S and Suicide Squad, I felt underperformed. I think they were too convoluted. Suicide Squad had great trailers for it. That's what got me excited about it. When I saw the film, I was like, this is a completely different film than we expected. So Wonder Woman had a lot of pressure to do a good job. And first of all, I want to say to Patty Jenkins, I enjoyed her storytelling in this film. Also, I've got my computer here because I didn't want to leave anybody out, but the writing credits, screenplay, the writers are essential to a very good film. You had Alan Heinberg, Zack Snyder's credited, and also Jason Fuchs. I believe that's how his name's pronounced. Jason, if it's wrong, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please let me know. Sometimes I butcher names, but I don't mean to. But I'm giving you gentlemen and Ms. Jenkins a great thanks for putting out a quality film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Wonder Woman was basically straight to point origin film. A good amount of excitement. I wish there could have been more action sequences, but we have to do character development in these origin films. Very much the same in Captain America, the first Avenger. I kind of wish there was more action sequences. There was a good amount, but a little more. But we had to tell the story. We had to create a connection to the character and the viewer. And I believe that this film did that. You cared about the character. You cared about the sub-characters. Steve Trevor was portrayed by Chris Pine. Other individuals that were in the film, the group of five, as I like to call it, Wonder Woman, Steve Trevor, and the three other gentlemen that he brought along on their journey. And it was just well done. It was enjoyable from beginning to end. The visuals, the special effects were pretty good. There's sometimes when you look at the special effects where you could tell it was a little too cheesy, but of course, it's Wonder Woman. Normal human body's not going to move that way, obviously, but you get the point, special effects. But most of the times, in my opinion, they looked very good. With that also being said, I don't think it was overused in effects when you didn't have to. I'm sure there's a lot of things there where they were just a lot of stunt performances, especially some of the close-up shots. I know that Gal Gadot does a lot of her stunts. She did in the Fast and Furious films, so I'd assume she's doing the same thing now in this film and the Justice League film that's coming on later this year, which I'm sure a lot of you are excited about. So I just enjoyed the film. Rotten Tomatoes, as I looked before I started this video, had it rated at 93. I think that's about a good rating. There's a few things that I'll go into my trailers portion of this video that I wish they did a little bit more with the character, but it doesn't break the quality of the film. It was enjoyable. Whether you're a man, woman, kid, I don't look at it as a film of saying it's just a female character. It's a character that embodies a lot of values. Just like Superman embodied a lot of values, Wonder Woman does the same. And we talk about female empowerment, equal opportunity for women. Yes, there have not been a lot of good films with female superheroes, we all know that, but I think this puts it on the right path. And we're also getting Captain Marvel coming in a few years through Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I will say now, and I'm not the only one saying this, we need a Black Widow film, all right? Scarlett Johansson, I don't know if you're going to be watching this or not, but we need a film. Whether it's you by yourself, or they team you up with Hawkeye and they do a cool origin, co-op, or something in between there. There needs to be a film for this character. She's been in a bunch of films. She's got enough history in the comics, enough content to make a cool superhero sense like spy film. I think it'll work. So with that being said, go see the film. It's enjoyable. Now I'm going to get into the spoilers portion of the film I want to talk about. So I'm warning you now, if you don't want to watch any more of this film, turn it off. Like, subscribe, comment on what you saw so far in the video, because I'd love to have subscribers and likes. It helps. But now we're going to spoilers. Spoilers. Here we go. So first of all, and this is for all you folks out there that have watched the film and you want to just hear commentary about it. What I thought was interesting with the film was they spent a good quality of time on the origin of where Wonder Woman came from, and also who the Amazons were, and they get into the, a little brief story in the beginning of the film is that you see her as a child and growing up in the island of Themyscira. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Themyscira. I think that's correct. If not, let me know. These are Greek terms, and I'm not fluent with the Greek language, but it was a beautiful place. I'm sure a lot of it was CGI, some of it was on location, but the visuals in the film initially were very captivating, very well done. It looked basically like one of these beautiful island cities in Greece that you may find. And just seeing the culture of the Amazon women. And it was not, they show them as fighters, but also they were intellectuals and they were well-rounded beings, which was very cool. And Wonder Woman's mom, played by Connie Nielsen, who the character of her mom is Hippolyta, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right as well. She's basically the queen of the Amazons, and if you've heard the story before or not, but they explained to it, she made clay of a little girl and asked Zeus to make that her child. There's some deal that her mom made with Zeus, and it brought Wonder Woman or Diana to life. And also they introduced other characters who would be Hippolyta's sister, who's played by Robin Wright, and I believe her name is Antiope, and she's like the main warrior. She's the complete awesome warrior of all of the Amazons. Even Hippolyta says that you're the best of the best, and she gets in this whole thing that don't train Diana, don't let her be part of this. There's some secret about her daughter that if they train her and prepare for as they mention these Amazons, return of man, they have to watch out for it. And what I liked about the Amazons was they were such a diverse group. And you don't see that always in films of all cultures and color, and it makes sense because, what this film embodied was the diversity of the world, because the backstory to this or the environment Wonder Woman is during World War I, and there's a mention that 20-something countries are involved in this war. As they say, the war to end all wars. And there's going to be a lot of diversity, and the film did a nice job of showing the diversity of the culture and people that were involved in this very sad time in the history of our world. And I also felt that they didn't make it solely out that, Germans were necessarily the bad guys in this film, but they were fighting a war like many other people are and being influenced. If you know your history, about World War I. It was a war that was there was a lot of nuance there about why the war happened. So if you wanted to do a little history lesson, go look it up. But I like that. It wasn't just solely everybody's a bad guy or just a good guy. There are people with layers in this film. That's what made it interesting. You know, it's like, okay, if someone's a bad guy in this film, but why are they a bad guy? Why are what's the convictions of what they do, what they want to do, and their different opinions? So I think the screenwriters and Patty Jenkins did a good job about that. I don't think anyone's talking about that, but I looked at that into a deeper meaning. So going back to the Amazons, her mom doesn't want her to fight, learning all these things. There's a big secret. There's a big reason why she can't do it. And we learned that Amazons are all that's left from a time of the past. Themyscira is covered in this force field invisible bubble from the rest of the world that people cannot see. It was left under protection by Zeus. There was a great battle between Zeus's son Ares, and you know who he is, the god of war, who's also a major villain of Wonder Woman in her comic books. If you read it, she always has this thing going on with Ares. They really don't like each other. And it turns out Ares was so upset with humanity and how they were that he started killing all the other gods, and there was a great battle. And at the very end, Zeus wounded Ares badly, but he drained the last of his power. Him being the leader of all gods, which was kind of a surprise. And with his last power, created this force field shield to protect the Amazons, because he created them to create the balance of helping mankind out. And obviously, mankind became corrupted. So Amazons are really leery about mankind, understandably. And you know, in a long term of events, Steve Trevor's plane crashes by the island. Diana saves him, and then he's being followed by a force of a German naval fleet. They seem to go through this invisible force field and discover the island and start basically attacking it. The Amazons see what goes on. There's this big initial battle shortly in the beginning of the film. And I thought the imagery was beautiful and everything else. What I was shocked about is that, you know, when you think of Amazons are going to be very strong, powerful beings. You know, these soldiers shoot them with guns and they're dead. And I was like, oh, that's odd. Or I didn't expect that, but it made the stakes a lot more dire for them. And, you know, they have these boats coming to the island. There's a big battle, and you see these larger boats, like naval boats in the background. And my only complaint about the film is I'm thinking, if these naval boats are there, they should be shooting some form of ammunition at the beachhead, attacking the Amazons. You don't see that. In fact, the battle ends abruptly because unfortunately Robin Wright's character, Antiope, she dies. She sacrifices her life for Diana, and that's the huge catalyst for Wonder Woman, obviously, that sets her off to want to go into the world and stop this war, because Steve Trevor tells them that there's a war. And when I thought about it, it was really abrupt. I'm thinking, if they have these battleships out there, they're going to attack the beachhead, they're going to attack the island, and her aunt dies, the battle's over, and then we don't see a burial of her, we don't see any moment of them. It just seemed a little rushed. That was my big concern about the film. Everything else I enjoyed about it, but I felt like there should have been a little more to honor her character and transition to this mourning that the Amazons were going through, because you could tell they were upset that she had passed away. She was a great warrior. And I just didn't, I guess the film couldn't do it because of time, of editing. And hopefully they come out with a director's cut, they can add those few minutes in there, because I think, I know I enjoyed the character. I think Robin Wright did a very good job with the small role that she had in the film. She even had an accent, which was nice, because sometimes actors and actresses, you know, when they're in a film of a character, which obviously these are Greek individuals from a Greek culture, you know, folks don't use the accent, but she did. I even felt like she got lost in the character. Like you can't realize this is Robin Wright from The Princess Bride or House of Cards or a lot of the other good films and TV shows that she's done. She got herself lost in the character and made you believe that she was that character. I think she did a great job on that. So with that being said, you know, they used the lasso of truth on Steve Trevor to discover this great war that's going on. Millions of people are dying. I gotta get a little drink here, folks. Sorry. And Wonder Woman ultimately sets off with him to the real world. Her mom tries to stop her, realizes she can, and Wonder Woman says, you know, this is what I have to do. And ultimately, we learn that the fear is that if she's out there in the world, she believes Ares is the mastermind behind this great world war going on, World War I. So fast track, she goes to London with Steve Trevor. She meets his assistant. I'm looking for her name real quick here, but I thought she was great. Lucy Davis. And Lucy Davis, when I saw her picture there, I didn't realize who she was in the movie, but when I went back, I remember her from Shaun of the Dead and some other stuff that she's done. She was fun with this character, and I wish that she had a little more screen time. Maybe if they're, I don't know, because this is with a dated film of an origin film, and obviously Justice League is many years later. But I liked her character. Her character was fun. The character named Etta, I just liked her. I liked her. She was a good comic relief in the film, and that was another thing. This film had a good, nice quality of comic relief and levity, which I felt wasn't done in the previous DC Universe films that have come out. There was just way too much seriousness in it. But this one had levity, which was awesome. So they get this group together, and they find out that there's this great German leader, Ludendorff, and also Dr. Moreau, or also Dr. Poison, who are creating these weapons of mass destruction. The whole goal of the film is we have to destroy these chemicals, these chemical gases that are hydrogen-based, that are going to wipe out millions of people. And watching this film, I'm thinking, and this is another spoiler area, was that, you know, maybe Ares is still alive, because there's this whole conflict. Steve's like, no, he's not alive. People were just bad and evil. And Diana, Wonder Woman's like, no, this is basically what's going on. Ares is behind all this, I just know it. And I felt Dr. Poison, I thought was going to be a bigger character, and she wasn't. I was a little bit disappointed about that, but she created these really bad chemicals that can hurt people, and I liked the actress that portrayed her. But I just thought I thought for a second she was going to be Ares in disguise as her, and then at one point the film makes you believe Ludendorff was involved in actually being Ares under disguise because of this concoction that Dr. Poison gives him. Maybe it's giving him the powers of Ares, and that wasn't the case. So that being said, Danny Huston, he always plays good villains in these films. I mean, he was in the Wolverine origin film as a villain. In this film, he's a villain. So he just gravitates toward this, and he does a great job. So Danny Huston, thank you, good work. So ultimately, what we find out in the film is that neither one of them is really Ares, and we get that big reveal on who Ares is. And it came when we were in the theater. Everybody was like, no way, this guy's Ares, or this person's Ares. We couldn't believe it. But you know what? I'm not going to tell you who Ares is. You're going to have to watch the film. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to watch the film. I don't want to give that away, but folks have watched it. You know who he was, you know who that person was, and that was a great reveal. I didn't see it coming. I was like, oh, what's going on here? I didn't see it coming. And if anybody did see it coming, you're a better person than I did, because I was really trying to look at seeing who Ares could be. But anyways, we have the whole situation where they're trying to go to the front. Diana believes, if I go to the front of the war where the hardest action is, I can stop this. And what's cool about the film is, when she leaves the island, they give a little tease of her getting the sword, supposedly the sword called the God Killer, the sword that can destroy Ares. And also she gets the lasso, she gets her shield, and then she looks up and there's like a suit hanging up, like some armor, and you don't see much of it. And during the film, they're always hinting to what it looks like, but they don't give you a full reveal, which was neat, because you're like, okay, what's you know, we've seen the trailers, we've seen the videos, but how are they going to do the reveal? And it was really well done, because when they go on the battlefield and she sees everything going on, and this lady tells her, the battlefield's in Belgium, she says, oh, these people are being captured and they're suffering by the German army, and Wonder Woman can't take it. Wonder Woman, in the whole film, she's about helping people out and stopping injustice. She's She's just horrified at the world we are in, and she wants to end the war. She feels like this is why she's here, and this is what she has to do. So she's wearing this dark, heavy black cloak covering herself, and there's always almost a tease where you see a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you don't see the whole thing. And Steve's like, "Oh, you're basically naked underneath there," because this is, I guess, in the World War I started in 19 teens, or for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, maybe early 1920s it ended. My dates could be completely wrong, I apologize. But it's an early period of time where they're very conservative how women dress. Okay, cool. So she finds the reveal where they're in this ditch, and they've been there for a year, Trevor says, and they haven't moved 1 foot because of all the battles and guns and people being mowed down. And she kind of like, they're doing their own thing. She sneaks out and she lets go of her cloak, and you see her climbing up. And there's this huge reveal. And I tell you, the crowd went crazy in the theater I was in when you saw her in full armor and that Wonder Woman music. You know what music I'm talking about. That music. It hits. The music we heard in Batman vs. Superman, which is iconic to Wonder Woman. That music hits. The crowd goes crazy. It's a great musical piece to that character. It just works. And she's going that. She's blocking bullets. She's using her shield, and they go into this whole battle sequences. I only wish there was more battle sequences. She has some cool battle sequences after that, but I was hoping there'd be 2 more. We didn't get that, but then again, it's an origin story. We'll get that hopefully in Wonder Woman 2. Don't know if they've confirmed if it's coming out yet. I hope Patty Jenkins directs it again, but hopefully we'll see more of that. It'll be more of a modern take on Wonder Woman in this modern time period. But the action sequences they did have were pretty cool. They were intense. There was a lot of movement. She's a skilled warrior. She's been trained by the Amazons, obviously, so these soldiers had no chance. And, she does what she has to do, and she tries to kill Ludendorff originally. It doesn't work. Unfortunately, in the film, Ludendorff launches some of these gas chemicals in the nearby town that they had saved prior to the film when she comes on the battlefield. And there's, this whole trauma of just seeing all these people that have died, and she can go in the gas, it doesn't affect her, but Steve Trevor and everybody else can't do it. And there's, to me, that kind of defining moment where you said, okay, well, now it's all going to break loose, and it does. And the action ramps up. And eventually she finds the main base. And similar to Captain America, and I hate to say it, it's what happened to Captain America, they're having these weapons on this plane, this large plane that's going to go somewhere. They do the same concept in this film, where it's a large plane going to London with these gases that can kill millions of people, and they're going to launch it to London. And Captain America was different countries listed in a super plane. They do the same thing here, so they have to stop this plane because they know it's going to be bad news. So, with that being said, they have this big fight. Wonder Woman kills Ludendorff, believing he was Ares. She soon finds out that he is not Ares. Someone else is Ares. And I'm not going to reveal that. I mentioned I wasn't. You have to see the film, but the twist on this, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. A lot of folks in the theater didn't see it coming, and it was a cool reveal. And she has this cool battle with Ares. Ares in his armor, looking similar to the Ares that we've seen in the comic books, in the video game Injustice, if you played it. It was a good fight. It was enjoyable. We find out that Diana is not really the big secret being that her mom kept. She's not really an Amazon. She is a god. In many senses, she is the child of Zeus, because Zeus empowered power into this clay child that Hippolyta created. So technically, she is Ares' sister. So that's kind of all brought up, and she has these powers, and Ares, of course, being the son of Zeus, can control lightning. So that was cool. Throwing lightning at her, and she's deflecting it with her armbands, absorbing it. And eventually, at one point, she is able to, when she absorbs the lightning, she's able to control it and attack Ares with it. And course, she defeats him. We assume he's dead. There's a huge crater. I don't think he's dead, though. I don't think a character like that should be wiped out so easily. I think maybe he's deeply wounded and he'll reappear somewhere else. I hope that's the case, because they need a round 2. They definitely need a round 2. I thought the person who portrayed Ares did a good job, just conniving, just like, telling Diana, you know what, I don't tell them to fight, I give them ideas, and these humans just fight. But he basically manipulated Dr. Poison, Ludendorff, all these folks to create this war, and he's trying to act like it's not really his fault. I mean, he's delusional. That's what makes a great villain. A great villain that believes that what he's doing is right, and it's a conviction of that, and that's what I think made Ares a good villain in this film. That's my opinion. You may not agree, but that's what I thought. So, unfortunately, and this is also a big reveal, and I'll mention, is that they have that plane that has all these chemical weapons. During the battle, Wonder Woman gets disoriented, and Steve Trevor realizes, we gotta get rid of these chemicals. They're on a timer. They're gonna blow. They're either gonna blow on land or I gotta take it somewhere. He gets in the plane. He flies away up high, aka Captain America. I hate to say it, it's very similar to the film, but it is. Goes way up in the sky, and one of the guys tells him, this is a flammable plane of all these things they have here. He basically shoots his gun and blows up the ship. And unfortunately, Steve Trevor dies. There's no way around this, but before he dies, he confesses his love for Diana, which was very nicely done. The relationship was interesting from the very beginning. There was a lot of sexual tension between the two characters throughout the film. But there's love. He has love for her, and you can see that she cares for him too. And they have a romantic moment, and they did classy. They did it classy. It wasn't gratuitous. There was no nudity of any sort. You could just tell there was a romantic moment, and I thought they did a nice job of that. Sometimes you don't need to see all that excess stuff to know that these two cared for each other. And she's emotionally torn up about this, as Sonya, and you could feel it in the audience. People are like, oh, this is more than just an origin war battle film. This was also a love story, because this is a woman who's grew up on an island with just women. She had heard about mankind, the ideas of what mankind are, and she learned for herself the best attributes of what mankind could be in this film. So the film was a lot of soul searching, which I enjoyed. And they left it at that. The movie, the war is over, everybody's happy. So towards the end of the film, we go back to modern time, and just to mention this, because I didn't mention this beginning, is that the beginning of the film starts in modern day. She's working at a museum in Europe. I believe it may be France, the Louvre, and she's a curator. She's collecting a lot of historical items, and a truck saying Wayne Enterprises, conveniently, because we're tied into this DCU, goes in and drops off an item, which is the original photo of her, Steve Trevor, and their group of soldiers that they were with that fought in this battle, which was teased in Batman vs. Superman. And what was nice is it didn't go too much off the story of Wonder Woman. It mentions she's in this universe. She gets this photo back, and at the very end, she's reminiscing with this photo. We see her in her uniform more times. Something's going on in the city, and she just leaps and jumps. And, that's pretty much it with the film. I will say there's no extra scenes. I waited like a whole bunch of folks in that theater for an extra scene. The credits are cool. We went in there and watched it all. But there's no extra scenes. It's just there isn't. So, that's fine. It's the next big film for them is going to be Justice League, and then we'll have some other films coming out. But it was enjoyable. While I'm on the topic of Wonder Woman, just wrapping up this video here, I also want to thank a lot of these creators that, off the top of my head, have put her in the comic book world. Where it's Geoff Jones, Jim Lee, John Byrne, the legend John Byrne, Mike Deodato. I follow him on Instagram, and some of those other guys. I like their stuff. I know Mike was psyched about it. Señor Deodato, salud. So many other folks that have contributed to the character, writers, artists, inkers, letterers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the work you do. I've collected the books many years, influenced by my mom because she was always a big Wonder Woman fan when she grew up in the 60s. And of course the 70s, 75 to 79, you had the Wonder Woman TV series, so my mom watched that. I was a little tight back then, a little too small to watch it. But, you know, that was my big influence. My mom always thought it was cool. George Perez did Wonder Woman for a while. I met him once at a Comic-Con. Cool guy. All these gentlemen and ladies, they take their time, meet with fans. Very cool folks. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being part of the history of this character. I know none of you are going to watch this video, most likely. I don't have a lot of viewers yet, but I wanted to thank you. You helped me enjoy this character. You helped flesh out a respectable character over the years. And that's all I got to say. So this is the end of my review. If you liked it, select that like button, subscribe, comment. Please comment. I'm sure there's a lot of folks watching this movie and saying it's about time. They enjoyed it. I hope we can do more characters, not just women, but also characters, I'll say it now, of color, of diversity, Hispanic, Asian, African American, Hindu, Muslim. If you read comic books, so you don't realize there's such a diversity being shown now, whether it's Marvel, DC, Independence, that it's really reflecting the creators that are doing the work now, who have read the comic books as children and said, if I ever have an opportunity to do a book, I'm going to do it so that it reflects who I am and the culture I've gone into. And I think it's an important thing, the diversity in comics. It makes it more interesting because yes, we have the traditional characters, the Superman, the Batman, Captain America, Spider-Man, but you know, we're seeing new versions of those characters. We're seeing new iterations of them. We have Miles Morales for Spider-Man, who is Hispanic and African American. We have a Miss Marvel, who's Muslim. We have other characters that are from the LGBT community. I think it's important to reflect on that. And this is toward the end of the video. A lot of you folks may be zoning out, but you know, let's keep our minds open here. You know, there's a lot more, a larger world of these characters that are out there. I keep an open mind. I read the books and try to feel that through those books I get to understand other cultures that I normally may not be influenced or be in contact with. So that's the end of my discussion here. I know I've gone on for a while. This is a long video, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative. And share it if you wish. Discuss. And that's about it. So thank you very much, and have a good one.